Scary Movie 666. Stop. Blade's already dead. Will Venom do the gritty? Did we dodge a Joaquin-sized bullet in 2008? Tarantino, no, thank you to Dune and Shogun. Obi-Wan as in him? What we K.A. Doe in the shadows, and much more.
But first, news dump. Halloween is finally over, meaning that it is the greatest time of the year. Nick Friar, by the way, Nick is filling in for Mac right now. He was offered overtime, and here on the Mac and Goo program, when you have a chance for money, you get that money. But back to this, Halloween is over. It is now the holiday season.
Of course it is. Have you already gotten your tree?
I have a fake tree, so yes, I have my tree year-round. I am putting it up November 2nd tomorrow.
Okay, nice. Not the timestamp things, but yes, it was great Halloween, except the weather, it was way too warm for October.
It was beautiful. What are you talking about? That's it. Yeah, that's what this podcast is. Two white guys talking about the weather. Finally, what I've always wanted to do.
I'm sorry. I thought that's what Mac's biggest passion was. My bad.
It is, yes.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
And I'll get into my Halloween costume controversy in the next episode when we talk about Agatha, because we were supposed to do Agatha all along this episode, but since Matt can't be here, we are going to do this quick dump with Friar. But earlier, I went to Target right at the open, right at 7 o'clock, because I wanted to go in there and see them assembling their entire Christmas section, all of the miserable employees just putting up all the glitz and glamour of what this beautiful holiday is.
I mean, I can't say I've ever had to experience that, but at the same time, I just don't. Thanksgiving is a thing, people. Like I'm excited for Christmas. I like all the stuff, but at the same time, like this is where it's like we still have the fall. Like the fall is still ongoing. Doesn't the fall actually still go into December, if I'm not mistaken, technically, like from a seasonal standpoint?
I even wore my red crew neck just in case they wanted to ask me for help.
You're terrible. You are a monster. You have been better off going in your amazing Casey costume. Not to step on it. I know you're going to talk about it later, but that was awesome. I can't believe you didn't win that.
News dump. Yes, we discussed earlier that Scary Movie 6 is in development, and the Wayans brothers are coming back after 15 years since they have left the franchise, or since most of them. I'm not sure how many of them worked on Scary Movie 3, 4, and 5. They were very well known for Scary Movies 1 and 2. This is via Deadline. I am curious, though, how are they going to approach their joke telling? Because time and place, really, with those first couple movies, I don't know how they're going to pull it off now.
Yeah, that was the big thing. I mean, on the now retired Change My Mind podcast, Wes and I did a little bit of a look back on some of those. I think it was the first two that we did. And it was just like, this doesn't get made today in no way, shape, or form. And now we've got a sixth one coming. So that was my big question when I saw this news. Like, how are you guys going to do this and make it funny to the audience that loved it before?
News dump. Deadpool and Wolverine will officially be streaming on November 12th on Disney+. So for the 5 people that have not seen it yet, here you go. Ryan Reynolds or the Deadpool account, I can't think. They put the 2 logos, Deadpool and Wolverine, in a urinal, because get it? Streaming.
Wow.
Can't slip one past Friar.
I think the 3 have already gotten by me today. But I'm worse than Tuca. But I'll tell you what,
don't you dare do that.
What? When my wife and I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, we walked out of the theater and we like to try and do marathons. And she beat me to the punch on this one. She's like, when this hits streaming, this is moving to the top of our list of marathons that we're going to do between this and the first 2.
Did you and your wife, not to pry too personal into your life here, but did you guys dress as Gambit and Rogue for Halloween, as you've been telling us often in the chat that's what your dream is?
Yes, I'm the one that says that, not Joe. Yes, 100%. No, we did not do that. She actually went as Wednesday Addams this year, and I was just a lame nurse. So.
You should have wait, what?
Yeah, I came into some scrubs recently, so I was like, I'll just do that for Halloween.
So first off, you used to dress up for every Change My Mind podcast.
Yeah, I see. That's the problem. I dress up all the time, so it's like Halloween's just another day to me. So I don't know. So you dressed up as a nurse? Yeah, it's Scrubs. That's it. really lazy. I mean, you could say I was like a respiratory therapist or something else if you want, but that was it. Yeah.
I kind of hate you.
That's fine. I thought you did
Wow.
already, so this is not
So
news.
she's Wednesday Adams. You could have done Uncle Fester.
I could have.
You
Yes.
could have been
Yeah.
that hand. His name is Thing.
This is
You
true.
could have
Yeah, there's a
been
there's
Pugly.
I've seen
Pugs?
a lot of Pugsley. There have been a
Pugsley. Thank you.
lot of awesome couples costumes that I've been seeing pop up on social. I saw a Denethor with a tomato for Lord of the Rings fans. You guys get that one. I saw a Dune one where it's like your one person's the worm and then the other one is a
Yep,
Atreides
riding
like
the
riding.
worm. Right. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of cool ones. Maybe next year. Maybe next year, and I'll make sure to report back.
News dump. Blade has officially been delayed indefinitely. It is no longer set for its release date. Are we now just under the impression that it's not coming out?
I got to think we're gonna get a Blade thing still at some point. I just don't know if it's gonna be Mahershala Ali. I don't know if they're gonna try and retire the character in a way where you use Wesley Snipes or find a way to do something you did similar to Deadpool. Like we've seen a lot about that,
Mhm.
but this is just it's just a nightmare. I don't know how this is something I would have never expected would happen with the MCU under Feige.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple now that if they do want to get into the Midnight Suns, which is kind of what their end game is with, adding Blade, is just skip the Blade movie and go with Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely do that. And they've built up a lot of this mystic space now. Now you've added a big player to the mix as well via a recent show, we'll say.
Mhm.
But like there's a lot that can be done still, and you can yes, I think actually go that is a very sound resolution.
Let me ask you this, because you're way more well read than I am. Is
Picture books, but
who
still.
are the characters that should be in Midnight Suns?
Wolverine can get in the mix there. Ghost Rider, you could do either Johnny Blaze. There's three Ghost Riders that you could utilize, but Johnny Blaze would be my pick. Or you do Reyes. You could do trying to think here. I don't know if we said Blade already, but then Doctor Strange, Moon Knight could get thrown into the mix of that as well. That
Okay.
puts you at 5. And then from there,
Is there a limit?
I don't. I'm sure there's a limit, and I'm sure there's ways they could get creative too. Because I'm wondering now if they would be like, "Oh, should we try and throw Wiccan in the mix?" Because then that kind of gets,
Oh, right.
then there's other things too. I don't want to like, what I'm trying to dance around right now too.
Okay. All right. News dump. Got a couple teasers to a couple of Marvel shows. First, got a 20-second tease, and this is, I think, cut down from what they showed at New York Comic-Con for Daredevil Born Again. Lots of Fisk, lots of Murdoch. I am super stoked for this show. I'm hoping that they let Fisk, and it doesn't seem like they are, but lean more back into the bad side of it. He's having a conversation with Murdoch. I want him to get away from what they've done in the Disney Plus stuff with him. Get him back to what he was on Netflix. And then we also got a 6-second teaser for Spider-Man. It's an animated show. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, where Spider-Man whacks a fella in the head with a brick.
Yeah, so on the Spider-Man note first, I mean, the big thing that jumps out to me, obviously, this is animated, and we
Yeah.
both love to see animated stuff thrown in the mix. Obviously, X-Men, the animated series, 97,
Mhm.
was outstanding. With this, it feels like they're trying to capture what's going on with Across the Spider-Verse and do it with Peter Parker. I'm fine with that, but just from an animation standpoint, it feels like we're getting like the cousin of that animation where it's like it's more 2D, still feels like it could be comic booky.
Yeah.
It's just you're playing with fire when you're doing that. So just make sure if they're not getting that exactly right, then I'm sure they're going to get some negative publicity on the socials for whatever that's worth. From Daredevil Born Again, this looks outstanding, and this is part of the. This is looking like it's going to be structured around the Devil's Reign run, where we see Fisk run for mayor, become mayor, excuse me, of New York, and a lot goes wrong. A lot of actually other Marvel characters get involved throughout this, not just the New York ones. There's a ton of potential with the Thunderbolts being around as well. There's potential for them to be thrown in the mix as well. So I couldn't be higher on adding Daredevil to the mix and having Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox. But now we're seeing a story that Chip Zdarsky wrote, one of the best Daredevil writers that we've seen, thrown in. Like I love seeing a recent Marvel story being added to the MCU.
News dump. Tom Hardy said that he is hoping, of course, his trilogy of Venoms is now done, but he wants a Logan-esque Venom film that is gritty and rated R. He told this to The Wrap. Director Kelly Marcel said that they're desperate to make this, and Hardy also said that he wanted to actually do this. He envisioned Venom 2 as this.
Okay. Well, I think as Venom 2, that would have been a great idea. Now, not having seen Venom 3, but having more expectations for Venom 3 than I had the other two because Null is in the mix, I'm like lukewarm on this idea. I think this would have been a great idea for Venom 2, and then it's like in out, we've done all this stuff with
Mhm.
Tom Hardy and Venom, and then move on. Now it's like, okay, again, I haven't seen Null. If they screwed
Yeah.
up Null, then I'm gonna have
It's not
even
great.
less confidence. Okay,
It's not
great.
great. No, what I would say is whether it be this or people demanding a Blade Wesley Snipes style Logan movie, Logan is pretty special. We
Yeah.
don't need to do that with every character. And although an R rated Venom would be dope, maybe do an R rated Venom with a different actor, with a different director, make it more connected to the MCU, connected to Spider Man. Have your Venom actually connected to Spider Man with his origin story.
Yeah, I think I just all around, I'd like to move on from the Tom
Mhm.
Hardy era. That's not necessarily a commentary on him. It's just it's more a commentary on Sony and everything that they've done. And I agree with you. Like we've seen it in the actual comics. I mean, we even saw Buffy get the old man Logan treatment
Oh,
over at Boom
was it
Studios.
sexy?
It was. I wouldn't describe it as that. No. But it was. I read. I remember the first couple issues. And I was just kind of like meh on it. But yeah, we've seen it a ton, and we've seen it in film, just in different ways, not necessarily multiple times with DC or Marvel.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it mostly.
Let's do The Dark Knight Returns again.
Yeah.
That's what all of them are. Also, and I don't have a source here on this, but I did see that Tom Hardy said that he's open to playing other Marvel characters in the MCU.
I mean, I see. I don't think you can do that. I know he only had the cameo in what was it? Far From Home, but
Yeah.
like
I mean,
I
we're
don't
already
think.
getting other actors playing multiple characters anyways. It doesn't really matter anymore. Nothing matters.
Don't say that. Don't do that to me.
News dump. Joaquin Phoenix revealed, while I believe speaking to Rick Rubin, that Christopher Nolan approached him to play the Joker for The Dark Knight, but he said, I was not ready then.
Yeah, I mean that would have been. I haven't okay, and because I'm not doing change my mind anymore. I'm very much behind on the actually
I
going to the
have turned
theaters.
off movies. I have said I'm done with movies now that I'm not doing change my mind. By the way, Nick Friar, did I introduce you? I did, I think.
You said my name. You didn't say
From
TLDR though.
Change My Mind, people know who you are. And if they don't, then this is Nick Friar. He was from Change My Mind. He is on a comic book podcast called I. Oh,
I've heard it both ways.
No, it's TLDR. Too
Yes.
long. Don't read. And then he is on DraftKings where he does some entertainment reporting.
Yeah, been doing a lot of Agatha stuff, which has been fun. But
Mhm.
on the note of this Joaquin Phoenix stuff, I enjoyed what he did in the first movie. I thought it was very interesting spin, interesting take. I know
Yeah.
Mac has said it a ton that you didn't need this to be a Joker movie for it to be an interesting movie. It's like it was part of the moment where everybody needs to see
Yeah.
superhero stuff, part of the box office draw and everything. But like the idea of that's great that Christopher Nolan thought that the vision was there and he was proven right in some capacity, but Heath Ledger and his take were just so vastly
Oh, no,
different.
Heath Ledger is amazing in the movie, but I'll also say this is that a lot of that has to do with how great of a director Christopher Nolan is. And I think that if you take another great actor like Joaquin Phoenix, let's not look, Joker 2, not great. But let's not forget that Joaquin Phoenix is an amazing actor. I'm sure that he would have given us something else that was also memorable.
Yeah, he definitely would have. I mean,
Yeah.
even like akin to the take again. Just looking at the first one, that take there, he could have
Mhm.
done a lot and then gone toe to toe with Batman, and it might have even gone in some ways better with the comics just because of the way he looked. I'm sure it would look more like Heath Ledger if he had done it, but still, I think Heath Ledger's was different, but still like true to the character and what he's been, and I
Yeah.
think that's always refreshing to see where there's a uniqueness to it.
Oh, no, and I'm not sure that Phoenix could have pulled off like that magnetic personality that uh, Ledger gave us. But
Yeah, no.
both of these actors have won Academy Awards for playing that character.
Yeah, no doubt. And Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix is, I mean, outstanding in general. I think the idea of depriving us of like obviously the role got to Heath Ledger in a way that was just
Yeah.
awful. But like he's the way he portrayed that character, I wouldn't like I can't imagine not having that.
Newsed up. Speaking of Christopher Nolan, his next movie, according to IMAX CEO Richard Gelfond, will use new IMAX technology. And he said it's never before used equipment that our teams have been developing through the past year. And this is what Christopher Nolan does. He brings cinema into the future.
Yeah, he definitely does. I mean, anything he does, I'm interested in. I mean, it's just such an amazing visual experience. Never mind the stories that we get along the way. I know I'm the only person in the DSG who understood Tenet in its entirety. I'm not going to sit here and try and
Oh,
explain it
because
to
your
you.
mind is so complex. I'm sorry, Nick. Oh, big brain Friar over there. I got Tenet.
Well, anyways,
Uh,
your jealousy is showing, Goo,
uh,
but that's okay. I'm not going to sit here and try and explain it to you because we don't have that much time. But
well,
I'm very excited.
Maximilian backwards is Neil. You knew that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. I said what I needed to say. You got anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Okay.
News up. Quentin Tarantino speaking to, I'm not even sure, and I'm sorry, I should source better than this, but he said that he loved Joker 2, saying Todd Phillips is the Joker. The Joker directed the movie. He's spending the studio's money like the Joker would have spent it. He's saying fuck you to the movie audience. He's saying fuck you to Hollywood. He's saying fuck you to anyone who owns any stock at DC or WB. And while, yes, Quentin Tarantino as a filmmaker might appreciate this, as a movie goer, I do not.
Yeah, I anytime something like this happens where someone provides a level of insight that it's just like I never would have thought of, I
Mhm.
generally like, oh, I need to think on it more. I'd love to go back and rewatch it through this kind of lens. Unfortunately, now I'm going to try and forget this because I haven't seen Joker 2, but knowing that, I feel like this would create for a very interesting experience.
No, it makes sense as someone who's worked in any industry. I mean, you've worked in, media where you look at certain things that other media companies do and you're like, "Oh, that's a real middle finger to someone," and you pick up on that. But
Yep.
as a consumer, I don't like it.
It's a huge reach. I mean, like
Yeah.
he's a creative, and we're also
He's a
in media,
creative
like
mind. He's
yeah,
one of
exactly.
the greatest creative minds of all time.
Exactly. In media,
Yes.
sometimes we don't see things that are quite as creative. With Quentin Tarantino, obviously, like you said, he's immensely creative. So it's like he's able to spin that in a way where he's getting more out of it, and I think it kind of fits the way he like wants to think about things as well. So again, like I will. I'm excited to experience it through this lens, but I don't plan on rewatching this either, even though I haven't seen it yet.
Having not seen it yet, I plan on only seeing it once.
It's just, I mean, I trust you guys. I trust most people on this. I mean, everybody can't be wrong, right?
Tarantino also said that he refuses to watch Denis Villeneuve's Dune films or Shogun because he saw the 80s versions, saying, I don't need to see spice worms. I don't need to see if they take me and put me in ancient Japan in a time machine. I'm good. I don't need to see those stories.
Okay, cool. I just sometimes don't understand him.
I would say to him, the Dune movies are really good.
They are very,
Shogun, good.
very good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't watched Shogun yet, but Dune is, I mean, outstanding.
News up. George Lucas said that he originally planned to switch the names of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn in The Phantom Menace, and then after Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon at the time, I'm going to mix up these names a lot. After the death of Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, played by Ewan McGregor, would just take the name of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, you explained that very well because this is like a confusing concept. I appreciate the creativity, and I know like there's like a spin on it too, where like Alec Guinness said something to the effect of right, like Obi Wan. I haven't heard that name in a long time, right? That was part of it. Like he like in a way of
Yeah.
like I'm Qui Gon, and I haven't been called that in so long. I or it's not even my name.
Mm.
I think I appreciate the creativity, but the right decision was made. I think that would have been absolutely
The
forced.
right less confusion because the movie is already it's not confusing, but they introduce a lot of nonsense. To introduce more nonsense might have pushed the people who were still on board over the edge.
Yeah, like there are times where I'm a believer in that there are times you can do cool shit in stories just for the sake of it being cool. I think more so when you talk about like character wardrobe, scenery, all that kind of stuff. But by and large, when you do something cool, it still has to mean something in the story. And just for that, like one throwaway line, that doesn't mean enough to me.
News down. Sonic 3 director Jeff Fowler says that Keanu Reeves didn't just show up and read the script and do the voice of Shadow. He really wanted to get into the mind of Shadow. He did so much research, and he clearly had gone home and done that homework.
I love the man's
You
hustle.
appreciate it. You appreciate this.
Yeah, how can you not? I mean, Keanu puts it all in, and I mean that's what now how that's gonna come out. If it's gonna sound much different than some of his other roles, I don't know, but I appreciate the effort.
And look, I don't fully understand where all these Sonic movies are going. I only played the games up to a certain point. I know Sonic, I know Tails. I'm getting more introduced to Knuckles at the point. But like Shadow, I have no idea what the H this thing is. But I appreciate Keanu being like, I'm not just going to provide a voice. I'm going to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, there's at least going to be a difference in that for sure. Like as if opposed to just coming in and it's just like there's not going to be as much conviction if he's not familiar with this material. But I'm kind of similar to you. I'm familiar with Knuckles. I mean, I remember him being introduced as a kid, and
Yeah.
then Shadow. I had a game where Shadow was featured, but other than that, I just know he's really cool and like has similar powers to Sonic, and he's kind of bad, but could he be good? I don't have much.
Oh, the headline, by the way. So you said what we KEA do in the shadows, right? Is that what you said? You said something stupid like that.
I'd said like Doe in the shadows, like Homer.
Right. So the headline was supposed to be what we Kia do in the
Oh,
shadow.
Keadu. Well, you spelled Keadu, so
Yeah, that
whatever.
says Kia do.
Yeah, well, okay, I
I
don't know.
spelt it phonetically.
You know what?
So
You
key.
did not spell that phonetically. There would be
I should have
another
wrote
E
a
in there.
Y, I guess.
If it was
K.
key,
People at home, tell me what KE spells. Key.
really? How do you?
Should I have put a Y at the end?
I mean, a Y could have worked, or yeah, that probably would have worked actually perfectly. Yep.
So you pronounced it Kai.
I think I said Keadu. I don't know.
Keadu.
We'll have to listen back to the tape.
You think KE is K?
It's not. I said K. No, I said K. I like not K, like K, like soft E. Like,
Keadu.
yeah, I don't know. I didn't say
That's
it right.
where your mind
You
went?
gave me no prep time on this. This is just like just get in and read.
That's
this
because you
stupid
don't know
shit.
how this show works. We do headlines now. We do
Yeah,
silly headlines.
it's yes,
And if
clearly.
you want to join the show, you do the headlines.
Yeah,
Keadu in the shadow. It's a great fucking headline.
it is good.
News dump. Petino Menudo. We are very close to the final couple episodes of The Penguin. And in this next episode, it is called Top Hat. And they are going to introduce a top hat.
Yeah, I can't. Man, this is what we've been waiting for this entire series. This is there's been such a good run of shows right now, Goo. I'm like between this Agatha from Vox Machina for me, like those four shows, like it's been an amazing run. But I do think from is objectively good, and I have the least like insight going into the show because I just started binging and caught up. Penguin, probably the best show of the bunch.
I'm going to say this, and we'll talk about Agatha in a second, but Agatha is pretty meh to me. And I think Penguin being so good makes me not care about Agatha as much. But I made the point on social media that if they show him holding an umbrella on the screen, I'm going to need a new pair of pants.
It scratches that itch for you, does it?
Yeah. An umbrella.
Yeah.
You've seen the Penguin. He's got umbrellas.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
a listener pointed out to me that if you look in the kitchen of his lady friend in the last episode, and I'm like, oh, what was it? So I went and I looked, and her light fixture, it just looks like an umbrella.
Oh.
So it's a nice little Easter egg. But when he said that, I was like, oh my God, did I miss? Did she have the neon hello there sign that Selena Kyle had in Batman Returns? I don't know why my mind went there, but I went and I looked and I'm like, that would have been amazing if she had the hell here sign.
Yeah.
They didn't have it though.
This series has been so damn good. I love what Colin Farrell's done.
News down. And Finally, we'll have our Agatha full season podcast coming out next Tuesday when Mac is back. I can give you a quick heads up. I stayed awake for the last 2 episodes.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. I won't spoil anything for people, but
Mhm,
I will say I thought this was a good series going into the final 2 episodes, like a solid
mhm.
B. This probably ended up being a B plus for me, not
Oh,
an A
okay.
minus.
Okay.
I really liked the penultimate episode. I loved what they did with the finale. I haven't stopped thinking about it since I watched it.
I would say that for myself, out of my, my not caring meter, like,
Mm,
watching the show and being like, "I don't care about this," it's close to the bottom of my MCU shows.
mm,
Just
really?
just a lack of interest.
Have you guys done a ranking of the MCU shows yet?
So I actually had, my former co-host, Wesley Sykes, on from MCU at Home, and we ranked the 10 seasons of Marvel television shows.
I gotta go back and find that. Wow, like, I don't. When was what was the 10th one? What was the one that got you
What
over
was the
the line?
worst?
No,
Um,
not the no, I don't, no.
no.
I mean, like, what was the final, the latest one? Was it X-Men '97? Was that the
No, no,
10th
so
one?
I don't think we counted, or it was before X-Men '97. It was,
I must
live
have listened
action.
to it. I
It was
must have
all
listened
live
to it
action stuff.
and not remember. But
It
yeah,
must not have been memorable then.
I don't know. I don't know what happened there. But for me, like, I love Catherine Hahn. I think she is an all time like actress of this
I don't think we
generation.
got a ton of Catherine Hahn in there until the end, and then by that point, I wasn't really that interested.
Well, I think we got a different side of Catherine Hahn, and I like all sides of Catherine Hahn, if I'm being honest. And I'll tell you what, I
Keep it in
want
your pants.
right. You're the one talking about getting, excited over a friggin' umbrella, so you take it easy.
You
But
can block bullets and shoot things out of the umbrella.
okay, so you're on the Spider-Man side of the Sydney
And
Sweetie Spider-Man
sometimes
side of
the
the conversation.
umbrella is just for show. Like when you open and you go, it's a
There we
trick
go.
umbrella.
There you go. Well said. But what I do want to say too is I
Cold
really
drink
right
of
now
iced water.
want to will into existence a Catherine Hahn Killian Murphy movie. I need to see that. Those two
Just, ra-
together.
just doing whatever is what
I
you're
don't
saying.
let them. Yeah, sure. If they want to write it, because I just want what I want in it is I want Killian Murphy to be annoyed with her the entire time because I think that's what actually would happen in real life because she is so much and he just doesn't want to be bothered. It seems like all the time. So I need to see that happen. I don't know what that movie is, but make it happen, somebody, please.
So you want, and you don't care what the genre is, you don't care what the circumstance is. You just want a movie with Killian Murphy being annoyed by Catherine Hahn.
Yes, that is exactly what I want. That's it. Figure out the rest from there. I don't know. You're welcome for the box office hit, everybody.
All right. News dump. Thank you for joining me, Nick. Have I introduced you on the show yet? This is Nick Friar,
I don't think so.
formerly of a podcast and currently on other podcasts, and also a writer on websites.
Thank you, Perd. Yeah, you can find me over on TLDR Comic Book Club with Dr. Joe Gilmore, where we talk about comics all the time. So all the stuff you guys are seeing on Disney Plus, on HBO, on the big screen, we're talking about that stuff when it is in book form. If you're into that kind of thing, come listen
Not.
to it. Also talking to the people that write these books, that illustrate these books. We have a lot of fun. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so join us at the top of next week for Agatha News Dump.